In December 22, at the very bottom of the city of David, archaeologists in Israel began a groundbreaking excavation, unlike anything attempted in generations. For nearly 2,000 years, the ancient pool of Siloam had remained hidden beneath layers of earth, stone, and history. Pilgrims have walked above it, empires had risen and fallen over it. Yet below the surface, the secrets of Jerusalem waited in silence. But as the archaeologists dug deeper, something unexpected began to emerge. Beneath the familiar stones of the Second Temple period, below the steps unknown to generations of scholars, massive ancient structures appeared from an even earlier world. Enormous stones, carefully placed and engineered on a scale few had imagined, began to tell a different story. Today we're gonna discover the story together. We're gonna walk on the same stones that thousands of pilgrims walked in the past. We will discuss the mysterious structures underneath the pool of Siloam. Step by step, we will go up, make an aliyah like the pilgrims towards the Temple Mount. After 2 millennia, we can once again walk on those ancient stones and discover the many secrets the ground was holding for centuries. So let's begin this amazing journey to this ancient world that was hidden but now is found. But before we'll do that, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button and the bell button. This will help me immensely as a creator. Thank you so much. Let's begin.
Shalom friends, I am welcoming you from an amazing place at the bottom of the city of David. We are, you could say, at the bottom of Jerusalem, and we are in a unique place called the Pool of Siloam, the Pool of Siloam.
Okay guys, so let me give you some geographical information so that you know where we are and where we are going. So here you can see a drone footage of ancient Jerusalem looking from east. And from this perspective, you can see the Temple Mount, the old city of Jerusalem, and of course, the city of David. And as I'm talking to you in this video, I am located exactly at the bottom of the city of David, right here. And from that location, we will walk up towards the Temple Mount in order to arrive at another amazing excavation site at the top of the city of David.
This is where the ancient reservoir of water was found in 2 stages. So the first stage was that they found a pipe here.
Sorry guys, I have to make a correction here. Of course, they didn't find the pipe. They were working on a broken sewage pipe, and because of the construction that they had to do, they started finding those steps.
And they started digging and they found those stones, and instantly they recognized that in fact those stones are very ancient and they are part of a construction that was built here for the pilgrims. And today, for the first time on my channel, we're gonna walk the ancient pilgrims road, which will lead us from here, from the bottom of the city of David, to the top where we have the Temple Mount. I have never done this. This has just been open, and today we're gonna do it. So I told you this is the first stage, right? And they of course found this amazing structure, ancient pool, purification pool that was here. But then they bought this piece of land because it belonged to a private owner. For if you would come here 2 years ago, you would have a pile of earth here.
Okay guys, so this is how it looked before 2022. So if you look closely from this perspective, you can see the steps of the Pool of Siloam. Those are the steps I am standing on right now. But if you look to the left of this place, you can see like a small hill of earth with trees on top of it. Here's another perspective looking at this place before 2022. We're moving from south to north, and you can see a little bit of the steps and this hill with trees. Okay, so now you know how it looked before. So let's continue the video.
And they couldn't really do any work here. So when they started digging, they were hoping, they were expecting to find something very similar to this. So a continuation, but they were very surprised because what in fact they found was something much, much deeper and something much, much more ancient. So as you can see, this is an even deeper pool. So it was here. It doesn't mean that, actually I said it wrong. It doesn't actually has to mean that it was much, much deeper. Probably was, but it's not for 100% sure. It just means that it was lower than this one, okay? So just to make it clear. But the fact that they found this structure, so this is a dam, an ancient dam that was blocking the water from going further. You remember in the ancient times when it started raining, we are on a ridge, so we are on the bottom of the city of David. Water would come down and it would accumulate here. It would continue to the Kidron Hinnon Valley, but there was a dam built here at the bottom of the city of David that stopped that water. And the dam, when they started testing the plaster of this dam, they were very surprised because it was dated to be before King Hezekiah. So before the tunnel, the ancient tunnel which you can walk, the Hezekiah tunnel that was gathering water here in the pool of Siloam, there was an even more ancient reservoir that was located here. Some say it was 100 years before Hezekiah, some say even more. But the fact is that it is more ancient than this structure here.
Okay guys, so let's do a quick recap of the history of Jerusalem. So you had David, followed by his son Solomon, who expanded Jerusalem to the north, building the magnificent temple. But that's not the end of the expansion. In the reign of King Joash, more construction was done. This is when it is believed the dam was built. And of course, we had a massive expansion during the reign of King Hezekiah. So not only a whole neighborhood arose on the western hill, but Hezekiah built a massive wall to protect it. By the way, they found the remains of this wall in Jerusalem. And this is my reconstruction of the part of the wall they have found in the Jewish quarter of Jerusalem. So once again, here's a drone footage of Jerusalem, and around here they have found the remains of Hezekiah wall. So if we go to 3D, here you can see where the city of David is located, so the ancient capital of Jerusalem. And here you can see where the pool of Siloam is located. And just for comparison, here you can see the location of the revealed part of Hezekiah wall in Jerusalem. You can actually visit this place yourself and see the remains of the wall because they made like a small museum telling you the story of Hezekiah wall. The wall was built after a massive influx of people from the north of Israel that were running away from the Assyrian invasion. The people settled on the western hill that didn't have walls, so Hezekiah decided that he will build an infrastructure to protect the refugees escaping the Assyrian terror. If you would like to learn more about the fate of the northern tribes of Israel, I have a special episode dedicated to this topic. I will leave a link in the description of this video for you to check it out. But what is important to remember is that Jerusalem's fate was very different from the one that were subjugated to Assyrian invasion. In the Bible, we actually read of a miracle that happened where an angel of the Lord was sent to destroy the Assyrian army. More on that in the episode I have mentioned. But returning to the dam that was built next to the pool of Siloam. So, as I mentioned, the water that would come down from the hill would accumulate at the bottom, and to gather this water, a dam was created. The study of the plaster of the dam suggests that this was a structure that was part of a monumental water project built during the reign of King Joash and probably during the reign of King Amaziah of Judah. Then, of course, we have the massive development during Hezekiah's reign, which, of course, is the settlement on the western hill, but also the building of the walls that surrounded this settlement. But there is at least one more project which we must mention that was done by King Hezekiah, which is connected to the pool of Siloam. So even before the reign of David, Jerusalem had a sophisticated tunnel network. Those tunnels were located under the ridge and they distributed the water to the Kidron Valley. Later on, this would be known as the King's Gardens. However, because of the imminent danger that was coming from the Empire of Assyria, this was a serious problem because the water was coming out of the city that the enemy could have access to. Therefore, Hezekiah blocked the water from coming out and created another tunnel that diverted the water so that it would be kept inside the city walls. And what is amazing is that today you can walk this wet tunnel, this ancient tunnel built by Hezekiah yourself, and feel the water flowing in it. Once you enter the water, you walk about 533 meters or about 1,700 feet, so that's 1/3 of a mile. And at the end of it, you get out into a small pool of water. This is the so-called Byzantine pool, which previously was believed to be the pool of Siloam, but now there are many serious doubts about it. Nevertheless, this was a very important pilgrimage site during the Byzantine period. Pilgrims from all over the empire would come here believing this is the original site of the pool of Siloam and the place of the miracle recorded in the New Testament. The columns you can see in this place are from the 5th century, remembering those Byzantine times. But at that time, they were not aware that just a few meters south, there is another major pool, which probably is in fact the original pool of Siloam. But today, if you get out of the Hezekiah tunnel, you can continue, and just a few steps later, you will find yourself in another big archaeological site. And that is the place where I started the video that you are watching now. And so later, water from the Hezekiah tunnel was transported through another tunnel, which opening you can see here. So the water would come out of this tunnel and fill this huge pool we know as the pool of Siloam. But the question still remains, why do we have those stones going down into the pool and then we have this giant hole? What is going on here? So to illustrate what is happening, let me use my 3D model. So it looks like this pool was built over an even more ancient reservoir of water. But then we don't know why the second part of the pool is missing. It kind of looks like it was cut in half. And that can mean two things. One, it was destroyed over time, but we don't know why half of it was destroyed. Maybe there was a building built on top of it. And the second option is that it was never finished. So what we have today is half of a giant pool from the 1st century AD and a dam from the time before the reign of Hezekiah. That's quite amazing. Now, let's continue my video.
So, what is important about this place is also that as you can see, there are other structures built on top of it, and they're still kind of trying to figure out what they are. And what is amazing is that on our eyes right now, as I'm talking to you, there is an active archaeological dig happening here. So they're still working on this place. And again, you can see that this kind of pool ends here. You can see a sharp edge over here, and it continues over there. There's the edges over there. So that's the thing that was a pool. But then you have other structures here that are higher. It looks like kind of a building over here, maybe some rooms. So perhaps, you know, I'm guessing right now, and we'll know for sure later when they finish this, but perhaps there was a quarter, some structures for more rich people that would have like private mikvahs here. So it could be, but we don't know. It could be shops, it could be services for a lot of people that were coming here. And why were people coming here? They were coming here for the 3 most important holidays in the Jewish calendar. So the holiday of Pesach, the holiday of Shavuot and Sukkot. And hundreds of thousands of people would come here from perhaps those mountains over there. You know, they would come from a long journey to Jerusalem, especially for those holidays. Those were the high holidays. So they would travel here, go down to the city of David. They would begin their journey, their aliyah, so going up. And this is the journey we're gonna do today, the aliyah. They would start here, they would come to this pool, they would enter this water through going down on those steps. They would immerse themselves in the water, and then they would be purified. This was a living water here. The water came from the Hezekiah tunnel here. They would enter, and you know, hundreds of people at once could enter here because it's a giant pool. But it didn't finish just here. This was the beginning of the journey. Then they were purified ceremonially, and they could continue to go to the Temple Mount. So an important place, and today we will continue on our journey as the ancient pilgrims. What is also very important is that in the Gospels we read that Jesus was actually here. And remember the story, the disciples asked Jesus why, because they saw a blind man, and they asked Jesus, who is responsible that this man is blind? Is it his father? Is it his mother's sin? His ancestors? And Jesus says, no, it's neither of them. It's because I want to show the glory of God to be seen. I want to reveal that. And then Jesus performs a miracle, and the way that Jesus does this miracle is quite interesting in the context of what was happening here also. So what happens is that Jesus spits on the ground, he mixes his spit with some earth, and then puts that mixture on the eyes of the blind man. And then he instructs the blind man to first go and wash his eyes in the pool of Siloam. He does that. He suddenly starts seeing. He is no longer blind. So you could say, okay, well, this is the way Jesus did it. You know, this is the way he chose it. But if you know the context, the historical context, the cultural context, you understand the deeper meaning of that miracle. You understand that in those times there was a special ceremony when a person would touch or had contact with a dead body. You would have to also create a special mixture, and that mixture you would make from the ashes of the red heifer and water coming from this pool. It was a living water. That's why they used this water, because it was coming from the Gihon spring. It was coming from the earth, and it was a moving water. It was constantly coming here, so it was living. And then that person would be sprinkled with that mixture of the ashes mixed with the water coming from the spring. That would make him clean, and he would of course have to show himself to the Levites that would declare him clean. So if you understand this context, again, this shows you the wisdom that is hidden in those words, that Jesus performs this miracle in a special way, so that when the blind man goes to the priests, he knows that he is testifying, and they know that they must declare him healed. So this is where the tour will begin, as we will walk, as we will make Aliyah. So we'll go to the Temple Mount. This Pilgrim's Road, an ancient road that functioned in the 1st century, has been just opened a few months ago. I'm the first time gonna be walking with you those stones, and I will show you how it looks today. So this is the beginning of the journey. Imagine that we just entered the pool of Siloam. We actually did. The problem was that there is no water there now. But in the ancient times, as you can see here, there was plenty of water. People will purify themselves and then start walking up on the same stones the pilgrims walked over 2,000 years ago. Okay guys, so let's make Aliyah. Let's go up to the Temple Mount. We're gonna walk this ancient path where thousands of people walked. They first purified themselves. So imagine we also entered the pool of Siloam. We are ceremony pure, and now we're going up to the Temple Mount. We can, because we're clean ceremony. This is an installation which shows you that on the way, of course, a lot of people were coming from different parts of Israel, different parts of the world for the holidays, and sometimes they would come not just for one day, but also they would come for several days. So they would have to buy food, they would have to buy things that they needed, and where there are people, there is of course business. So you can see where we entered, the shop installation over there, and you can see that we are in fact going up. Those are original stones from the 1st century, stones that pilgrims walked on, that Jesus probably walked on. Most likely, it's very, very probable that on this stone Jesus at some point might have walked. His disciples walked here because it was a very important pilgrimage road. So you can see that this was quite a challenge to build this thing here. You can see a lot of construction that obviously is not ancient. See a lot of metal, and this is because directly above us there are modern houses. So it's like a metro, an underground, where we're walking in a tunnel under the houses. Here we can see that in fact, because this road was covered, it was just revealed after over 2,000 years that there were actually houses built here in these places, structures from later periods, and we'll find that in many places on the way. once again, this amazing road. Again, here you can see original stones. We have found many coins, weights dating from that period, again indicating that stores were located here. And they found, especially in the drainage tunnel which is beneath us right now, they found coins, very unique coins, because they are from the Jewish revolution in AD 70. And of course the revolution didn't last that long, so the coins only functioned a few days. But they found them in the drainage, which is under this road.
By the way, guys, I have a video where I walk through this drainage tunnel. It is a video where you may feel very claustrophobic, so if you have a fear of that, don't watch it. But for those of you who'd like to see that, I will leave a link also in the description of this video. So if you like to see that, you can check it out.
And this is because the Jewish fighters fighting the Romans were using the drainage tunnel to hide there, to travel through the city. They even found a Roman sword, which shows that the Romans have found this place. It could mean two things. First, perhaps the Romans found the tunnel, and it's very possible. Second of all, it could mean that actually the Jewish fighters stole such a sword. So again, a view on the Pilgrim's Road. Of course, in the first century, this would be opened. You could look up and you would see the sky.
Okay, so for illustration, this is my simplified model of Jerusalem from the first century, and the red shows you where the Pilgrim's Road would go. So it would go straight to the Temple Mount. Therefore, you would begin at the bottom of the city of David, next to the pool of Siloam, and continue walking up, making Aliyah to the Temple Mount. This is the journey we are making now together.
You can see the road is wider here, and that's because over here there was a public place, like a market, and you can see on the map where we are. So this is kind of where we are now. We made the journey from here going up. There are some buildings, so those stores, a widening over here, and of course more widening over here. This was like a central marketplace where again people would trade. That's where they found so many of those weights. People would buy food to, stay in Jerusalem longer. So again, amazing. We're walking on stones that are over 2,000 years. When we read about this road from Josephus, and he describes it, it was not seen for many, many centuries, and now you can actually see it. And this is like a secret entrance to the drainage tunnel, but we're not going to go there. I made one of my videos a tour around the drainage tunnel. I will put a link in the description for you to see, but not today. Today we're walking the path above, so the way of the pilgrim. So again, you can see how much they uncovered here. It took years to actually build this. Again, it was very, very complicated. Enforced concrete, metal, everything had to be accommodated to build this tunnel. So this is also interesting what we find here. because the destruction, as I told you, the fight didn't just happen in the drainage tunnel. Here is a picture of that sword that was found, the Roman sword that was found in the drainage tunnel. But above the drainage tunnel, they also found a lot of structures that were destroyed. Actually, Josephus Flavius writes about that the Romans put the lower city, the city of David, on fire, and it went down as far as Siloam, so over there. And when the archaeologists started to excavate this place, they found a lot of structures that were collapsed, that were actually had signs of burn. So a lot of ashes, a lot of bones, a lot of siege weapons. So it's all evident very clearly here, and this layer was totally destroyed by the Romans.
So the siege of Jerusalem in AD 70 is one of the most dramatic and consequential events in Jewish history. The destroyed buildings found next to the Pilgrim Road are a witness to this huge destruction made by the Romans. The city of David was one of the last areas destroyed by the Romans. And Josephus writes that the Romans caused fire beginning at the top of the city of David, which continued until the pool of Siloam. The buildings you just saw testify to this destruction. Another place in the old city of Jerusalem where this destruction can be seen very well is the Burned House Museum, located in the old city of Jerusalem in the Jewish quarter next to the Hurva synagogue. An Israeli archaeologist, Nachman Avigat, who found the building, not only found the structure, not only the weapons that were used in this war, but also actual bones of people who died in this destruction.
So we're continuing our journey. And here is an interesting find, because they found like this step structure. It's like a podium, you can see it over here. And it's interesting because there is a place in the Talmud, we read about it here, actually the place where it is found, that this place would be used for announcing lost items. So lost and found would be here. So on this way, if you would lose something, you know, you would, people would, if somebody found it and was kind, he would bring it here, and then they would announce such and such was found here. If this belongs to you, then you can collect it. So you would come here if you had something lost. So they actually found a lot of items under this structure, and it only could be another reason why this is the place that was actually mentioned in the Talmud. Another explanation, it was like is that it was some kind of official place where people would come to hear an official, you know, like from a government. He would stand here and announce something, or a person that would work for the official authority would announce different things regarding the state of the matters in the city. So again, you can see where we came from. This is where we are, and we will continue up. Hello. How much longer?
300 meters, you are in the middle approximately.
Okay, I'm middle.
Middle.
Okay, thank you. So we are about in the middle of our journey now, and still about 300 meters to go.
Guys, before we continue, I just want to say that I hope you enjoy the videos I am creating. All the animations I am using to enhance the videos are created by me. This is not AI, this is not artificial intelligence, but real hours of real work made by me. And because of this, I hope you feel like this content is authentic and is original, something you will not see anywhere else on the internet. However, to make one video, it takes me hours to do it. But I believe it is valuable and I want to continue and create videos for you. But I need your help. The costs of running the channel are rising and it's getting more and more difficult. However, there is a way you can help me out. The best way to support me as a creator, to support the channel, is through PayPal or Patreon. It's really simple. You go to my main channel webpage. I will leave a link in the description of this video. You choose one of the videos, whichever you like. And in the description of any of the videos, you will find links to PayPal and Patreon. The best way probably to support me is through Patreon, because not only you support me directly, but also you get access to extra content. And there are many options. You can choose whichever you like and whichever you can afford. For me, this is gonna be huge. So whoever decides this, I am very, very thankful. All the links will be in the description of this video. Now, let's go back to the video. Okay, so as you can see on the map, we are about halfway through the Pilgrim's Road. From the Pool of Siloam to the Temple Mount, the distance is about 2,000 feet. Additionally, you have to climb about 400 feet in elevation. So it's not a very simple one, but it's not a very difficult one. Naturally, the Pool of Siloam was very important in the ancient times because it was the biggest purification pool in the area. Pilgrims would begin their journey to the Temple Mount very often from this place. They would purify themselves and then begin the climb. As you would walk on this road, you would hear the psalms of ascent, the psalms of Aliyah, which prepared the pilgrims for the spiritual journey. The path was built deliberately to build anticipation as you would approach the most holy site in the world. Let's listen together to Psalm 121.
A Song of Ascents. I will raise my eyes to the mountains. From where will my help come? My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. He will not allow your foot to slip. He who watches over you will not slumber. Behold, he who watches over Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is your protector. The Lord is your shade on your right hand. The sun will not be down on you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will protect you from all evil. He will keep your soul. The Lord will guard your going out and your coming in, from this time and forever.
Okay guys, so let's continue. The buckets you can see now are part of the modern excavation infrastructure. You know, that was quite a challenge to excavate, and the tunnel was excavated, the road was excavated by a method called horizontal excavation or tunneling excavation, because archaeologists could not simply remove the modern neighborhood above the ancient street. So they had to actually go underneath and then go horizontally. Therefore, you would fill the bucket with soil and then send it horizontally on this chain, on this structure, down the path. Of course, once the soil would arrive at the other side, it would be additionally checked for coins, artifacts, anything that could be missed during the dig. So it was quite a sophisticated process.
So we're still on our journey. We're moving forward. For me, it's very exciting too, guys, because it's the first time I can walk the full path, and I am very, very happy that I can share it with you. This is showing you a little bit of what is beneath. So the drainage tunnel, this is how it looks. I walked this path. It wasn't very pleasant. but it's certainly possible. And at some point you get out of the drainage tunnel, so it's not like you're stuck there. But there are two paths, one for the pilgrims and the other one for the rats. Now, there's no rats there. There's just some mud, not even water, which is good. But so guys, we can see here a change of scenery because we're now entering a new part of the road. It's actually now turning from the Pilgrim's Road from the 1st century to a Roman road, a road that was built above it, and it's from 2nd, 3rd century. So the structures you can see here are actually from that period, because after the Jewish revolt, after the second Jewish revolt in the 2nd century, Emperor Hadrian decided to change the whole city into a Roman city, and those buildings were built in that time when the city was transformed from Jerusalem, from a Jewish city to a Roman city, and it was named Alia Capitolina. So that was a new concept for the city. A lot of very prominent rich people lived here, which we can see by the fact of mosaic here. You can see very elaborate, very nice, very beautiful floors that could be only afforded by the rich. Okay, so we're almost at the end of our journey. There's still a little bit of traveling to go.
Okay guys, so here you can once again see our path, and currently we are almost at the Temple Mount. We are at the top of the city of David. And soon we will have two choices to continue. We could continue going forward, that would lead us to the David's Son Archaeological Center, but instead of doing that, we're gonna turn right. And don't worry, we're gonna visit the David's Son Archaeological Center in my next video, but we must visit this place too.
So guys, this is the place where you can also enter the drainage tunnel. So, you know, there's a gate here where you can enter. Of course, through this hole you can see the drainage tunnel downstairs. So we're very, very close now to the end, and now will be a very sharp upwards path that will lead us to another amazing place. So hold on, because it's not over. We're still gonna see some cool things. And for that part of the video, I will be speaking from my studio, because I want you to get the best information.
Okay guys, so in a moment you will see me making a right turn. As I said, we could continue forward, that would lead us closer to the Temple Mount, but if we turn right, we will be in the center of another major archaeological site called the Givati parking lot excavation.
So you see here, we would continue. This would lead us to the Davidson Center, but we're exiting here. We're going into the direction of the city of David. And the reason why is that haven't really showed you this place, so I'll have you look around, and right away you can see we are in the middle of another huge archaeological site, and this is like on the opposite part of the city of David. So normally you enter here to the city of David, you enter here, you go down through the Hezekiah tunnel, you exit through the pool of to the pool of Siloam. This is what we took. Then, you know, we walk the pilgrim's path right here, and we exited here in the Givati excavation, which is, it used to be a parking lot here, but now it's as you can see, it's a massive archaeological site, and it's very special because this is part of a moat that was found here. There was a huge moat separating the city of David, so you can see the blue, the black structure, that's the city of David over there. So that moat would continue. There was a big hole here, and a dam, another kind of like natural dam that was made in the stone, that would separate the city of David from the Temple Mount. So in this direction we have the Temple Mount. In this direction we have the city of David, and this is where we came from. We made it through the Pilgrim's Road.
Okay, let's do some orientation here because you might be confused. So this is a drone footage which actually flies over the area where we are. So let me stop this video and show you where we are. Okay, so this yellow circle shows you this huge archaeological dig, and I am located right here when I'm speaking to you. Here you can see the Davidson Archaeological Center. This is where we would get out of the tunnel if we would continue straight. This is where the Western Wall is located, and here's a closer look from the above at this place. And right away you can see that there are a lot of remains of buildings in that area. And this is truly a mosaic of structures from different time periods, starting from the first temple period and up to even Ottoman period. But because there are structures that date to the first temple period, this is extremely interesting. And once again, you can see where I'm standing when I'm recording this video. So you heard me calling this place the Givati parking lot excavation. That's a weird name, right? But there is a reason why it's called that way. And the reason is very simple. It used to be a parking lot. Here you can see how it looked before the excavation. And here you can see the early stages of the excavation. Now I will show you a video how to get to this place and get a really good view.
Okay, so we're going through the Dunn Gate. This is the Western Wall Plaza over there, and now we're gonna go in the direction of the Mount of Olives. So there's much construction here, as you can see. This road is being redone, so during the day it's really busy here, but we are very early in the morning, so it's not that bad. So you can actually see the sign over here which says the city of David, and this is actually where the city of David is located. So we can actually go there for a little bit so that you can see where it is. Over here it's a huge archaeological site. You can see the ancient stones that are dig up.
Okay, so we know where it is, we know how to get to it, we know how it's named, but what is this place actually? So from about here, the eastern end of the Givati parking lot, to about here, a giant trench was found, and remarkably, it is very ancient. Some say it goes back to the first Israeli kings, and there are even some people who claim it is actually even more ancient than that. And it seems that the main role of this trench was to separate the city of David from the Temple Mount. Here's my visualization showing you how this trench could have looked like in the ancient times. And here's another look at it from the east. This is very significant because it gives us more information about the topography of Jerusalem in the past. Another interesting fact is that in this location it is believed that the ancient fortress of Accra was located. It was built by Antiochus IV Epiphanes, and it played a very important role in the Maccabean revolt. Okay guys, so now you know what this place is, what significant finds they have found here, and I'm sure they will continue to find new things, so in the future we will visit this place. But actually this is the end of our pilgrim's trip. So we have walked from the pool of Siloam, we walked through the pilgrim's road and ended up here just next to the Temple Mount. But that's not the end of the tour. I will actually continue this tour in the second part of the episode, where we will get out next to the Davidson Archaeological Center. So if you like this video and you would like to see more such made content, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it please, because I think that recently my reach has been limited. Thank you so much for your attention. I wish you all the best, and I will see you in the next video. Shalom.